Hello, my dear companions. This is Earl Purdy, and I'm here to do A Course in Miracles lesson number 334. A Course in Miracles lesson number 334, which is, check this out. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. I will not wait another day to find the treasures that my Father offers me. I will not wait another day to find the treasures my Father offers me. Illusions are all vain. Illusions are all vain. And dreams are gone. Even while dreams are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perceptions, I say dreams are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perceptions. Let me not accept such meager gifts again today. Let me not accept such meager gifts again today. God's voice is offering the peace of God to all who hear and choose to follow God. God's voice is offering the peace of God to all who hear and choose to follow Him, to choose to follow the Holy Spirit, the voice for God. God is my choice today, is to follow God. And so I go to find the treasures God has given me. And so I go to find the treasures God has given me. I seek but the eternal, for your Son can be content with nothing less than the eternal. What then can be your solace but what God is offering to your bewildered mind and frightened heart to give you certainty and bring you peace? Today you would behold your brother's sinlessness. Today you would behold everyone as innocent. This God's will for you, that you see everyone as innocent. For so will you behold your sinlessness. That's how you will see your innocence, is to see everyone else as innocent. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Today you claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Today you claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Today you claim the gifts correct perception gives. Today you claim the gifts correct perception gives. That's what forgiveness is. Mighty companion, this is Earl Purdy, and check out my classes and videos of my classes and audios of my classes at www.earlpurdy.com, and let peace extend from my mind and my heart to yours. Yes. Hello, my companions. This is Earl Purdy, and we're going to do the theme 12 in the workbook, which is called, What is the Ego? What is the ego means what is fear? What is separation? What is separation thought? What is the ego? The ego is idolatry, the sign of limited and a separated self. The ego is the part of you that thinks it's born in a body, doomed to suffer and to end its life in death. The ego is the so-called will that sees the will of God as enemy and takes a form in which it is denied. Do you know the ego is the so-called proof that strength is weak and love is fearful, that life is really death, and what opposes God alone is true? Do you know the ego is insane? The part of the mind that thinks it's separate, the part of the mind that thinks it's separate from God is insane. In fear, the ego stands beyond the everywhere, apart from all, in separation from the infinite. Do you know that in the ego's insanity, the ego thinks it has become a victor over God Himself? And in the ego's terrible autonomy, autonomy, the ego sees the will of God. The ego sees the will of God has been destroyed. To the fearful man, the will of God that you be perfectly happy has been destroyed. Do you know that the ego dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams, its enemies who seek to murder the ego before the ego can ensure the ego's safety by attacking them? Do you know the Son of God is egoless? Do you know that you are egoless? Do you know that your real self doesn't have any fear or sense of separation? What can the child of God know of madness? What can the child of God know of the death of God when the child of God abides in God? What can the child of God who knows he or she is a child of God? What can the child of God know of sorrow? What can the child of God know of suffering? When the child of God lives in eternal joy, how could the child of God know suffering? What can the child of God know of fear and punishment, of sin and guilt, of hatred and attack, when all there is surrounding the child of God is everlasting peace? When all there is surrounding the child of God is everlasting peace, forever conflict-free and undisturbed, in deepest silence and tranquility. Do you know to know reality, to know the truth, to know love is not to see the ego and not to see the ego's thoughts, is to know reality in love. To know reality is not to see the ego and the ego's thoughts, the ego's works, the ego's acts, the ego's laws, and the ego's beliefs. To know reality is not to know the ego's fearful dreams, the ego's hopes, the ego's plans for salvation, and the cost belief in the ego entails. Do you know that in suffering, the price for faith in the ego is so immense that crucifixion of you, the child of God, is offered daily at the ego's darkened, ignorant shrine? And blood must flow before the altar where the ego's sickly followers prepare to die. And yet, with one lily of forgiveness, with one lily of correct perception, change the darkness into light, the altar to illusions of the shrine of life itself, and peace will be restored forever to the holy minds that which God created as His Son. Peace will be restored forever to the holy minds which God created as His Son, His dwelling place, His joy, God's love, and completely God's, completely one with God. So, what is the ego? What is a fearful thought? What is the ego?